This is a big morning for Wisconsin, a big day for Wisconsin. This kind of is the culmination of more than a year's worth of work by different members of the Republican Assembly and trying to figure out what we're going to do on the issue of medical marijuana. If you go around the state, you talk to people, you're like me, you knock on a lot of doors and talk to people. This is not a Republican issue. This is not a Democrat issue. This is an issue where overall the public of Wisconsin supports a medical program. Now, we're more divided on issues such as what to do about if you want to do some sort of adult use or recreational program. So that's not what this bill does. This is what the overwhelming majority of Wisconsin says that they support. They want a controlled medical program. Now, there was gives and takes in this bill. Not everything in this bill is going to be something that everybody in the legislature agrees on, but that's not what good compromise legislation is about. Good compromise legislation is about figuring out where we can all agree and where we can get together and say, let's move forward with some sort of program. So I'm going to, in really brief, go over the high levels of this bill, and then we'll turn it over to a couple of the other representatives to talk about some of the personal aspects of this bill. So on the program, this would establish a medical registry for marijuana usage for medical purposes. This would establish through different fees and funds to allow for people to register to be caregivers and also to be registered as patients. In addition to that, it would decriminalize the aspect of if people are using this product for those medical purposes and are registered and properly transporting those medicines, then in fact they would not be obviously subject to criminal law. Furthermore, this bill would have state-run dispensaries. So that is something that a number of the people in the legislature have been very strongly supportive of. They want to have that because they want to try to make sure that so long as it continues to be a federally controlled substance at Class A, that in fact it's going to be closely controlled by the state of Wisconsin, and it's not going to be run with the individual private dispensaries. What's going to be allowed in this bill? It will not have smokable. That's something that some people have had disagreements on. But once again, this is trying to focus on the idea that this is supposed to be medicine. And so the forms that would be allowed under this bill would be nebulizers. It would allow for tinctures. It would allow for creams. It would allow for pills. Any of these types of alternative, more medicinal forms of marijuana. Let's see, what else do we want to cover here? The program, as I mentioned, would be state-run, and the way it's set up in the bill is it removes all opportunity for the state itself to be profiting off of this. That is one thing that in particular in some of the other recent bills we've seen with different taxes and things that have been in place, that the state could indeed take in revenue based off of the medical usage. And that's not something that the Republicans in the Assembly support. We want to make sure that we are not profiting off of sick people. We want them to be able to get the medicine as cheaply as possible, to be able to use it for their various medical conditions. And so there are triggers in this bill so that even though it's self-supporting, if in fact more money comes in to support the program than is necessary to run the program, those fees will be reduced through a process through joint finance.